Welcome to episode 13 of the Metamagix Monster Manual and a continuation of the Dead by Daylight chapter. We are jumping headfirst into the spooky month and talking about Michael Myers, or the Shape from Dead by Daylight. Now, the design of the Shape Statblock was based entirely around the obsession mechanic from Dead by Daylight, which I covered in previous videos. I will leave a link somewhere up here. If you have not seen those, go check those out. But the idea is Michael Myers is going to be a killer with a bucket load of hit points whose entire power level, either increasing or decreasing, is centered around his obsession. So with that in mind, let's just jump right into it. So this is the Shape, and to begin, the Shape is classified as a large humanoid with the chaotic evil tag, the same as all of the other killers. He has an armor class of 13, a hit point total of 200 hit points, the highest we have seen so far, and a movement speed of 35 feet. However, that will be fluctuating. We'll see that later in the abilities. For the stat array, the only two noteworthy stats here are the 18 strength and 18 constitution, with all of the other stats being pretty nominal. We have a damage immunity of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, but again, could be toned down to just a resistance if your party is low on magic. He has a passive perception of 11, speaks 0 languages, and is a challenge rating of 7. So now we're going to jump into some gameplay and talk about his unique ability and unique perks. So to begin, let's talk about the Shape's primary ability, Evil Within. The Shape grows in power as he stalks his prey. At the start of the encounter, the Shape begins in Evil Within Stage 1. While in this stage, the Shape's movement speed is 25 feet. The Shape can use a bonus action to fixate on another creature. Doing this for 2 turns progresses the Evil Within to Stage 2, so using 2 bonus actions over the course of 2 turns progresses it to Stage 2. Once in Stage 2, the Shape's movement speed becomes 35 feet. Once in Stage 2, the Shape may use 2 more bonus actions to progress to Evil Within Stage 3. So again, using 2 more turns of bonus actions. While in Stage 3, all creatures become vulnerable to damage from the Shape's attacks. The Shape may also grapple and attack targets of medium size or smaller as part of the same action while in Stage 3. So he can make a grapple check and attack in the same turn with the same action. Stage 3 of Evil Within lasts for 1 minute before reverting back to Stage 2. So the Shape has to invest a lot of bonus actions to power this up in order to get it to the place that he would be able to deal massive amounts of damage and likely hit a lot of targets per turn. Moving on, let's talk about his unique perks, starting off with Dying Light. At the start of the encounter, the Shape becomes obsessed with one player. Again, obsession mechanic talked about in previous episodes. The obsession gains an additional 1d4 to all attack rolls and skill checks. Each time the Shape reduces a creature that is not the obsession to 0 hit points for the first time, the Shape gains 1 stack. For each stack, all creatures other than the obsession suffer a 1d4 penalty to attack rolls and skill checks. This effect can stack up to 3 times. So if the Shape knocks down one party member, they can't just get back up through healing and then he knocks them down again from their stack. It can only trigger once per creature he knocks down to 0 hit points. And this can stack to a point where creatures will be suffering up to a 3d4 penalty to attack rolls, which is completely abysmal. If it gets to that point, they will almost never be hitting attacks at that rate. But the idea is this begins the Shape's playstyle of spiraling out if the player characters are not able to kill him in time. Next up, we have Play with Your Food. At the start of the encounter, the Shape becomes obsessed with one player. And this, by the way, these 3 perks are going to be all obsession based, and the obsession is the same player. It's going to be the same player as the obsession for all 3 of these perks. It's not going to be 3 different obsessions to keep track of. It can only be 1 obsession that the Shape is fixated on. So at the start of the encounter, the Shape becomes obsessed with one player. Each time the Shape misses an attack against the obsession, he gains a stack. Each stack grants the Shape an additional 5 feet of movement per turn. This effect stacks up to 3 times, so he can get up to 50 feet of movement if he chooses to use his action against the obsession and miss. And again, do note that you can purposely miss attacks. So whether or not you running this character chooses to purposely miss the obsession, or whether just make it look like it wasn't a miss, that's up to you. You can deceive your party a little bit. So the third perk is Save the Best for Last. At the start of the encounter, the Shape becomes obsessed with one player. Each successful attack against a creature that is not the obsession grants the Shape 1 stack. At 3 stacks, the Shape gains the ability to make an additional attack as a bonus action. At 6 stacks, the Shape gains the ability to attack twice instead of once when he takes the attack action. So he essentially gains a multi-attack once he reaches 6 stacks. The Shape loses 2 stacks each time he hits the Obsession, so he is not going to want to hit the Obsession at all during the encounter until they are the last one alive. So what exactly does he have for his one attack? Well, he has his Knife, which is a melee weapon attack of +7 to hit, 5-foot range, and deals 8 or 1d8 +4 slashing damage. Now remember, this does get higher if he gets to Evil Within stage 3, which at that point it'll be double that amount of damage. And if he is able to stack up a lot of stacks from Save the Best for Last, he can start hitting for vulnerable damage for either 2 or 3 times per turn, spiraling completely out of control if the players are not able to kill him fast enough. That is why I've given him a beefy hit point pool of 200 to make them have to chip through his entire health pool while he is slowly gaining stacks of power. So the way I would recommend running this character in general would probably be to have him stealth away from the party to start gaining stacks of Evil Within over the course of a couple turns before engaging in combat, because at stage 1 he is slower than almost any of the party members would be, and he can only attack once per turn with a pretty weak attack at base. So I would recommend playing a more stealthy approach to this killer before then engaging the party in combat. But guys, that is how I would run Michael Myers or the Shape in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. If you guys enjoyed this video and this stat block, be sure to leave the video a like and subscribe if you haven't. A lot of you aren't subscribed. I think only like 10% of you guys are. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. I'd like to get a lot more of the horror movie stat blocks from Dead by Daylight out during the month of October just to celebrate Spooky Month. So be sure to not miss any of those videos coming up soon, guys. And until next time, have fun, stay safe, and as always, happy gaming.